The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated.
Welcome back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Mark Bound. Today we will be answering listener emails, and we have a question from Jessica, who lives in Syracuse, New York, very close to me. And Jessica asks, so it comes as no surprise to me, but 8 Democrats, that would be 7 Democrats actually, and 1 independent caved in the Senate. Yes, indeed. And it looks like the government may reopen soon. So I was wondering if this turn of events is a surprise to the panel. Not to me. Also, it seems that this might turn back the blue wave of last week's election results. What do you see as the fallout from this change of heart by these Democrats? And the 1 independent? Will their base punish them for just giving in? Mark, Scott, that's an excellent question, Jessica. Mark and Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. So I want to start with a week ago today. I was almost euphoric about the election. The turnout, the percentage of vote, the margins of victory, it was all fantastic. And man, it took them 4 days to destroy that good feeling. I was beside myself. I mean, it is unfathomable to me that they would have done this. And I think I get why they did it. They didn't want to make people suffer going into the holiday season, going into Thanksgiving and then Christmas. So they sort of backed this out and said, we'll talk about it again in January when the holidays are all over. But remember, the reason we were here in October was because they made the same deal in March. They made the same exact deal, and Schumer took it without shutting down the government. He said, "Okay, I don't want to shut down the government." They had promised to sit down and talk to us. They had from March to October to sit down and talk, and they never did. And now they've said, this time we're going to talk about it. We're not promising anything, but we will talk about it. And the Democrats went for that deal. It is just so disheartening and so like snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Very, very upsetting and dismaying and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, if the Democrats want to know why nobody likes them, this is why. Why nobody trusts them, this is why. And as Scott says, all of the gains they made on Tuesday, polls showed that the majority of the country blamed the Republicans. Polls showed that the majority of the country blamed Donald Trump. And the majority of the country wanted the fighting Democrats to come out fighting. And they basically just threw it away. This is one of those opportunities that, if you don't have faith in the Democratic Party, I can now understand why, because this is absolutely, it's insane that they could just do this. And I agree with Scott, the idea of taking defeat from the jaws of victory. That's exactly what these people did. And I don't care about their arguments, sir. I mean, I heard their argument was, well, we knew they weren't going to move. Okay, so what? They're being blamed for it. Ride it out. It was hurting the people that are constituents of the Republicans more than it was hurting the people of the Democrat side. Let's remember, the Democrats outnumber the Republicans statistically in the United States. Republicans are from poorer states. They're less educated in many cases. Not all of them, and this isn't across the board painting with a big wide brush, but they're generally less educated. They are more impacted by not getting SNAP benefits. And you caved in. And what did you gain? Whenever you have a political calculation, you have to ask yourself, do I gain anything from this? And the fact is I can't think of one single area, one single main point that the Democrats that changed their mind in the Senate can say, yes, I believe we gained something out of this. I just don't see it.
And no, I agree. And they have no leverage.
I mean, it's just so the other part of it is what ended up in that Senate bill that these guys blithely voted for yesterday, and some of the other elements that were in there are just horrible. They voted, for example, to allow Republican senators who were investigated by Jack Smith for January 6th to sue him for as much as $500,000, or to sue the DOJ for as much as $500,000, which is clearly a money grab because Trump controls the DOJ, and their lawyers will say, yeah, we're going to give these guys that money, and they're just rewarding that horrible behavior. And these 8 Democrats voted for that. That's just, there's a lot of other sort of like ugly stuff that you hear about. I haven't actually seen like a national THC ban. I've heard of national abortion ban. Like I believe it was the House, it might have been the Senate, said that the only way that they're ever going to get together and talk about ACA subsidies is if the Democrats agree to limit abortions more in across the country. So it's just unfathomable that they would have made this kind of unforced error. And no doubt the 8 that are running don't have to run. They're not running this cycle, or they're retiring in Durbin's case. Last week, I think we talked about the time Schumer's time has come and gone. I think that this underscores that once again. Schumer's time has come and gone. He's got to step down as the minority leader and let somebody with a little bit more firm hand go out there and lead this pack, because he couldn't do it.
Yep.
And it's just terrible. And I'll and I'll give you a silver lining if anybody wants a silver lining, is that Mike Johnson is not Nancy Pelosi. He doesn't seem to know how to count. And this might yet fail in the House. And it's possible that if it does fail in the House, that the Democrats end up looking good. But in my mind, it doesn't stop this from being a really, really horrific decision on their part.
No. And Scott, you're right. It's an unforced error. It is an absolute unforced error. And, it's a shame. But it's one of the reasons why, and Scott's right. We've talked about this before. They need new leadership in the Democratic Party. They need new leadership in the Senate, new ideas, to be able to come relevant again. And if there was one act that showed how irrelevant they are at this point in time, it was this. It was this. And Chuck Schumer, how you couldn't keep your members in line is absolutely, and Durbin, who was, I believe, the whip in that party in the Senate, and he was one of the ones that jumped the fence. That's, we talk a lot about the disarray in the Republican Party and, the different ideologies that exist there, as far as from the very, very cruel to the very attempt to be moderate. This just shows that the Democratic Party is really not a lot better. They are not a lot better. They cannot even control. Hakeem Jeffries, he generally can keep those guys right in line over in the House. But I don't know. Somebody was asleep at the wheel. And, the pressure. And Dick Durbin, I think, is the one that surprises me the most. He isn't going to run again. Why do this? You have nothing to lose by holding your ground. But it just shows a lack of, if I'm a Democratic voter, my comment is going to be well, you obviously didn't believe in what you were doing wholeheartedly enough. You only believed in it for 39 days? And now you changed your mind. So probably you didn't believe it 39 days ago. So the pain that was caused over those 39 days was just because you could. You were always going to change your mind anyway, obviously. And this is, a Democratic voter in those districts saying, come on, guys.
Yeah,
Where were you?
You're calling out Durbin. I'm going to call out Tim Kaine, who I thought was a big mistake that Hillary made when she chose him to be her running mate. I thought that if she had gone with Sherrod Brown, she had a chance of winning Ohio, and that would have been the ball game right there. As it turns out, Tim Kaine is, represents Virginia, which has become more blue purple than it ever has been before, and almost a blue state. I mean, coming out of that election last week, kind of looks like a blue state to me. And Tim Kaine, just couldn't deal with the suffering of people in his state. I get it. He's got a lot of federal workers who lost their jobs, and one of the things that they were able to get was they're all going to get made whole. They're going to get repaid. They're going to not lose their jobs. There's no reduction in force, at least until January 30th. And they're going to, he's going to protect his people. He also said at the press conference the other night that he hadn't really been involved in it because he was so busy with Spanberger and the others getting them elected in Virginia that he didn't really come back. He wasn't really paying that much attention, but when he did, he realized that the shutdown wasn't going to, the Republicans were never going to end the shutdown. Right. I mean, empathy is not their strong suit, and that it was going to keep going, and he had to end it. Somebody had to be the adult in the room and end it. Again, I'm not with that. Tim Kaine, you look weak, and you look like you didn't really believe in what you're doing. You're not going to get what you want from the Republicans. They lied to you in March. They're lying to you now, and there's absolutely no end to the lies that they're willing to tell about healthcare in America and the Democrats' plan. I mean, Trump continues to insist that Obama named the ACA Obamacare, and that's why he wants a Trump care. I mean, they just. You're not dealing with the rational
and he gets royalties,
right? That's right. That's great stuff. But this group, when I watched them all get up there one after another, Jean Shaheen and Maggie Hassan and Cortez Mastro and Angus King. King,
that was the other one I was going to call out.
So disappointing, sir. He always seemed like a very reasonable man, but this was, I guess maybe this is just too reasonable for me. I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying it either.
And so
no, neither am I.
We lost a lot of momentum. To the her name, Allison, was it?
Jessica.
Jessica, the Democrats have lost a lot of momentum, and what they really do, I think Mark is right, that what they really suffer from more than anything else is leadership. And there is no leader of the Democratic Party the way there is a leader of the Republicans. And I guess it's good to have a bad leader is better than having no leader, because they seem to come through these things all the time, and the American people got screwed, and he's going to claim that it was the Democrats that screwed them. And since these guys didn't really believe in what they were doing and what they were standing up for, I don't know how you counter that argument at this point. I really don't.
I totally agree with that. Yep, takes any counter argument right off the table.
So all that can be done then is to primary Schumer in 26, correct?
No, I mean, you don't have to look. Schumer can keep his seat as long as he wants to. I don't think that's a problem. The Democrats in the Senate vote for their leader, and
okay. Well, how do you force them?
Another leader?
Well, they should have had another leader, last March or earlier, but that hasn't happened. So I don't know how to force the Democrats to see that they need another leader.
Well, I mean, the first thing that has to happen is another leader has to step up and say, "I'm going to be the leader." I mean, that's what happened when McConnell stepped down. 3 different people, I believe, rose up. Rick Scott with Ted Cruz, one of them, and the current leader, John Thune.
Right.
And they had to go through, try to convince people to vote for them. That's how it happens. The New York voters aren't going to vote out Schumer. I don't think. I don't see that happening.
And that's the difference in the dynamic of the party. Scott's exactly right. McConnell bows out. 3 people, bam, right there. Let's look back at the House when they, who was wanted to be the Speaker of the House. Once they got rid of McCarthy, there was a laundry list of people wanting to step up. Now they weren't very good, but there was a laundry list. The problem with Democrats is this all seems to be done, and I think Scott's made a very good point about this, about the election in 2016. If the Democratic Party had kept its nose out of it and let Bernie Sanders, let his campaign go, you might not have seen Hillary Clinton as the nominee. But it just seems that, again, we always say that the Republicans seem like they'll eat their own young to get ahead. The Democrats, there's somebody in the back room smoking a cigar, like 2 or 3 guys that are making the decision, and then they just say, okay, fine. And that's the different dynamic of the 2 parties that we see here. We need somebody, and last week me and Scott mentioned some people we thought would be good for that. Scott likes White House. I like Klobuchar, because you need somebody that basically turns to the head of the DNC and says, go screw yourself. This is what we're going to do. Gets those people in the room and say, this is the plan that we're going to go, and we're going to stick to it. And we're going to show a little bit of backbone. The thing that we accuse our Republican colleagues of not showing, standing up to Trump, we need to stand up to the total dysfunctionality of our party, and that's going to take some backbone.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if it happens, because I think one of Schumer's big strengths is that he's really good at elections. And I think that they're going to keep him on board probably through the midterms.
Oh yeah.
And then look at it, because I don't think that there's anybody who is better at finding candidates, promoting candidates, and raising money than Chuck Schumer is in the Democratic Party. I mean, he's they used to call him the senator from Wall Street because he was able to raise so much money for the party. And so I don't think that Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island or Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota are going to supplant him right now. No. But I think that that's going to be on the back burner, and that when this next election cycle is over and the presidential election cycle begins, then the Democrats need a stronger leader.
Yep, I agree. It's not all about money. It's about running the party. Absolutely.
Yep. So thank you, Jessica, for your question. I do hope that we answered it. We appreciate your listening, and if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. Subscribing is free, and we look forward to hearing from you and to having you spend some more time with us next time on the Nova Society.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, BH Conflict Resolution Services, a full-service dispute resolution firm offering expert, cost-effective mediation services to couples, groups, and businesses. BHCRS can be reached at www.bhcrs.com.